Well, hello, friends. It's me again, and it's time for another story. A story from, again, the best, one of my favorite Reddit names ever, Squibbly D. I still love your name. I'm sorry, it brings me joy. And I realize that the story that we're about to get into is kind of heavy and also kind of sad, but little silly things like that do bring me joy. And I'm assuming we're going to need it. I've been warned by a few people that this is going to be a little heavy. Apparently some of you have read this before me. So, here we go. Let's get right into it. From Reddit user Squibbly D. This is Warbeard Part 2. Backstory. And if memory serves about this guy, I'm not going to enjoy who he is. I'm sure I'm going to get pretty angry by the end of this, so buckle in, kids. You might be able to join me in this one. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well this morning. It's technically almost 5 in the morning, so yeah, I'm fine. Last post was much more lighthearted than today's fare, because, as we all know, if we didn't laugh, we'd be cringing so hard our faces could be used to make black holes. I like your way with words. The last post was also read by our dear RedX, hi RedX, as well as unexpectedly by Moonhorse, who both did wonderfully and managed to share portions of my personal outrage at Warbeard. Well, thank you very much, first off, and I'm very happy that I was able to do such a good job. This one is going to be far less funny, and honestly, I'm hoping it can be some kind of PSA into how dangerous a neckbeard can be if left completely unchecked. That being said, allow me to start this off with the proper trigger warnings. We have our warnings of physical abuse, gaslighting, allowed certain kinds of abuse, you know which ones they are. YouTube won't let me say certain words, thanks Susan. Slurs, emotional abuse, abandonment, and general extreme threats of violence and other things. You know what they are. Also, insane amounts of swearing. Well, insane amounts of swearing is basically the name of my autobiography, but I'm fine with that. That's fine. Let's see what we're in for. I'm scared. Warbeard Part 2, the prologue. One of my earliest memories was from when I was 5, sitting in the backseat of my parents' car with my sister and infant brother in the middle in his car seat. Warbeard was in the front seat screaming at my mother for something over which she had no control. Some ticket about the rear light being broken. Someone had accidentally backed into us and took out the light. Maybe 30 minutes later, they got a ticket for it. But this was just one of Warbeard's usual rants. I'd probably have forgotten it by now. The part that sticks out in my mind is what he yelled. Shut up! Shut the fuck up! If you don't shut up, I'm gonna bash your head to the dashboard and put your brains all over the fucking windshield! Well, doesn't he just sound fucking delightful? My mom was just trying to defend the point that someone else had backed into us and had taken out the light, not that she had. Honestly, knowing how my dad would react, I wouldn't blame her if it was a lie. Although, in typical Warbeard fashion, he didn't care to hear it. Warbeard was the final arbiter of truth. He hadn't personally witnessed something, then it was up to him to construct the events based off of his own personal biases. The only reason I tell you about that is because that sort of yelling and threatening was a normal occurrence for me growing up. I am so very sorry you had to put up with that. Holy shit, dude. The threats were seldom, if ever, towards me or my siblings. No, he just yelled at us sometimes for, quote, being stupid, or some other thing. At this point in time, the threats were reserved solely for my mother. That, however, would eventually change. Let's fast forward about a year to when Warbeard enlisted in the army and was only a week or so out from basic. I was playing in my room, as children often do, and trying to ignore another argument from my parents. When I say that they were having an argument, what I mean is that Warbeard was mad about something and my mom had dared to have an opinion that didn't align with the wisdom of our household overseer. Fireworks ensued, and the climax would be explosive. Next thing I knew, I hear a loud impact and the walls of our house shook. A bomb had been detonated within our household. Confused, I poked my head out of the doorway and looked down the hall to see Warbeard walking away and my mom extricating herself from the wall. Warbeard had shoved my mother into and through the drywall in the hallway, punctuating his point with violence like the overgrown man-baby he is. That's, what are we, like 4 or 5 paragraphs in it? And I'm already just, what a fucking asshole. Yeah, no, I'm there. Okay, there it is. Yeah, I'm getting it. That stuck with me. I'd never seen him lay hands on my mom before, and it scared the hell out of me. Yeah, I fucking bet. Poor kid. Holy shit, dude. Weeks slogged by, because honestly, when you're around this vitriol for long enough, a day feels like a year. A moment of relief from his tyrannical presence came when he went off to basic training, all smiles and talk about how he's going to do the honorable thing and protect his family and country. Says a lot coming from somebody who just did that, but you know. After the first week that Warbeard was gone, however, my mom began asking me to come with her on errands, and when I did, my mom would sob and rant about how much she hated my father. I watched that woman as she was reduced to tears. I heard plenty of terrible stories, what he had done to her, how much he had scared her, and how she didn't know what to do when he got home. She spent these outings airing all of the dirty laundry to her 6-year-old. I'd be lying if I didn't own up to it affecting me. Yeah, I can imagine. That's... oh my god. I just really hope you're okay, man. This is all really fucked. I just really hope you're okay. I had a teacher who was really cool. Her name was Mrs. Willard, but she wanted everyone to call her Miss Willie, based on a popular cartoon character. It was 1996. Are we the same age? And she'd always paid decent attention to every one of her students. She noticed my attention in class was slipping. Young child shouldn't have a war veteran's 1,000-yard stare. My general ability to engage with the class and my scores were slipping. Eventually, she took me aside and asked if there was something wrong. Other than the fact that I watched James and the Giant Peach 100 times too many and managed to collect school bullies like a nerd collecting trading cards, I told her what my mother had been telling me. I successfully transferred my shell shock onto my teacher that day. The next day, instead of having me do schoolwork, she brought me to a different room and had the school psychiatrist and the principal in it. And they let me play while they asked me questions. I wasn't told that I couldn't tell them, so I told them everything. Everything Warbeard said in vivid detail. Everything my mom told me. Warbeard shoving my mom through a wall. Everything. I didn't realize the hornet's nest I had just kicked, because they were the first and last school faculty that cared for my well-being. They sent me home and, in nobility and benevolence, began their machinations that would come to fruition the night of Warbeard's return from basic. The road to hell, however, is paved with good intentions. The morning Warbeard was going to return from basic, my parents got a summons letter for family court. The state had taken an active interest in the goings-on with my family and were going to look into the serious allegations of abuse. My mother was furious with me. She felt that I had betrayed her, and she was scared Warbeard was going to be irate with her. This, however, was not the case at all. After picking up Warbeard at dark 30, he was in the car all of 5 seconds and was all smiles and happy. And then my mother handed him the letter. The look he gave me then is honestly still the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. Just the mere recollection of it sends a shiver down my spine. He refused to talk about it in the car. Surprisingly, he didn't yell about it at that moment. He wanted us to get pizza because he didn't like waiting for food. When we got home, we went to do what we usually did for dinner, sit in front of the TV and eat together. Not me, though, not tonight. No, you don't get to sit with us. Warbeard said this to me as he shoved a plate with a couple of slices of pizza at me. Family gets to sit in front and watch TV. You get to sit behind the couch and stare at the wall. I don't want to hear you talk. I don't want to see you. I don't even want to know you exist till I come get you. You could take this moment, this extreme moment, to learn from the terrible fucking things you're doing there, Warbeard. The fact that your child had to talk to people about how fucking horrible you're being, learn from that, and try to be a better person. Your response was to punish the child for not wanting to be fucking abused. What a fucking douchebag, man. Just fuck this guy. He then plopped me down behind the couch, walked around to the other side with the family that he had intentionally excluded me from. Fucking monster. I finished my pizza quickly. I wasn't allowed to ask for more or for something to drink. It reinforced to me that I had to sit there until, and I quote, someone wants you. What a fucking... Needless to say, that moment never did come. I sat there for the next 4 to 5 hours while my parents talked about what they were going to do, and eventually they got up to put the others to bed and go to bed themselves. As Warbeard rounded the corner of the couch, he actually jumped with a start and a smile, looking right at me.
I forgot you were back there.
Then he walked away, telling my mom to
Do what you want with your kid.
She carried my sister to bed and told me to just go to bed. For the next few days, every time I was anywhere near him, he'd refuse to interact with me in any capacity. He'd stop whatever he was doing, and I mean whatever he was doing, glare at me as menacingly as he could until I left. If he talked about his kids, it's always the girl and the baby, completely excluding me from the equation. After that, though, came something 6-year-old me wasn't ready or equipped to handle.
I'll stop being mad at you if you tell the truth.
I did. I don't lie.
You're lying right now. You didn't tell what really happened.
I proceeded to explain what happened.
You know that isn't what happened. Tell me what really happened.
I repeated my previous explanation. I see where this is going, and I'm already getting pissed off.
Stop lying.
He proceeds to explain his version of events, which basically amounts to him being misunderstood and me being a liar because I like people getting in trouble. Fucking asshole. Oh, wow. Warbeard corrected me like this for weeks leading up to the investigatory trial. He managed to gaslight me just enough that when the social workers and teachers would ask me my side of the story, everything became a jumbled and inconsistent mess. It'd been consistent for weeks, and suddenly I was losing consistency, and that scared them. Then came the day of the IT. Both my parents had forced me to stay home, even though I had been named and ordered to be brought in for my testimony. Instead, they brought my twin sister to use as a counter-testimony. Basically, they told the court that I was a, quote, known liar and malcontent. The 6-year-old. And how my sister could attest me always, quote, causing problems at home with his temper. Etc., etc. And the judge heard that and then looked to the social workers and asked plainly if my testimony was consistent. They said no, but, and the judge cut them off and said that he'd heard enough and ruled the social worker would visit a minimum of 3 times and report their findings. I only know what happened in the courtroom because Warbeard was gloating about this turn of events the moment he came through the front door. Like the fucking douchebag he is. I'm sorry, they didn't say that. That was me. She was supposed to come at least 3 times. She only came twice. She was supposed to drop by unannounced, but she would call my parents in advance and tell them the exact time she intended to arrive. She was supposed to come see me, but most she ever did was check if there was food in the home and if we had running water. The entire time, I was refused audience by her. Warbeard turned the charm up to 11 and would even sit on the couch with the social worker and talk to her for a couple hours about life in general. And the one time I tried to say something, she flat out interrupted me. "Hey, the adults are talking," she said to me before turning back to Warbeard and continuing their conversation. Wow, what a fucking bitch. I'm sorry, I just really had to get that out. She let Warbeard know that she wouldn't be back because it's obviously a waste of time. Your child is just a handful. That was the last time she visited. That night my mother yelled at me, telling me how I'd almost cost them the family with my lying, and that's why you shouldn't lie. Motherfucker. I tried defending myself, saying that I didn't lie. She, however, insisted that I had egregiously misrepresented them, and I, seeing that I was making no headway, decided to end this encounter and walk away. Warbeard, however, took my disengagement as disrespect, and he was not having it. He picked me up by the collar and pressed me against a wall, screaming in my face about never sassing your mother. As a reminder, from what I understand, this child is 6, and I am gonna lose my fucking shit. Right before quietly, but in a growling-like fashion, said this Jim, "You think that anyone's been abused? I'll show you what abuse is. You just push me and find out what happens." He's saying this to a 6-year-old. Fucking coward. You absolute piece of shit. I'm sorry. Oh, fuck this guy. Just fuck this guy. He then dropped me back to my feet and pushed me over before walking away. Wow, real big man. Real big fucking man. That's when the ride really began, and to put it simply, there was no getting off. If I made him even a little irritated, I'd get slapped. Not once, not twice, but maybe a couple dozen times, and forced to stand there and take it. It was always hard enough to hurt, but never enough to leave a bruise, and much to my chagrin, I'm actually hard to bruise anyhow. Since no marks were left on my person, he would insist that this vindicated his actions and made it okay. "You're clearly not hurt." This motherfucker. If a particular smack would make me flinch, and I put my hands up to defend my face, he'd go for my sides and butt to make me drop my guard from my face. It was misery. The beatings, however, were the least of my worries. He's a soldier, and took that quite seriously. All the suffering he'd endured in basic was now being transferred onto me. What a fucking douche. I learned how to do push-ups, sit-ups, and front-back goes at 7 because he was, quote, sick of not getting through to me. Maybe, just maybe, if you weren't an abusive fucking asshole, your kids might like you. I don't know, I'm just spitballing. Normally, I'd say having your kids do some exercise is an abuse, but allow me to put this in perspective. Pissed him off? Drop. No amount, just drop and do push-ups, not 10, 15, or even 20. It was until he was done ranting, and I don't think there was anything that Warbeard loved more than the sound of his own voice. Abusive narcissists usually do. The fucking douchebag. His monologues would drag on for what seemed like hours as he berated me. God forbid my arms give out on me during these tirades. The one time it happened, I was slung around the room, chest prodding, smacking, screaming, yelling at me to get back to doing push-ups. I fucking hate this guy, and I've never even met him. I honestly kept trying, but my arms had turned to jelly, and continued physical activity had become a complete impossibility. Yeah, you were a child. This is fucked up. This is so fucked up. Oh my god, I fucking hate this dude. This only made him angrier, and the painful fallout that ensued left me hiding in my room for the next few days, afraid to cross paths with anybody in my own home. Warbeard introduced me to front-back goes at 8, saying, I'll make you do these until you start showing signs of a heart attack, then I'll stop. But only once you're about to have one, and once you're better, we'll start back up again. Oh, big man. Real fucking big man. His favorite saying was, if you won't be smart, I'll make you strong. Then why is he both weak and stupid? Right up there with, go ahead, be an asshole, I'll be one too, and I promise I could be the bigger asshole. You were talking to a child. If I refused to do the PT, the blows would begin. If I physically broke during PT, the blows would begin. I'll admit that my body became strong, but the psychological cost was not worth the athleticism. I still don't have words to say how sorry I am that you had to put up with this fucking bullshit, dude. I struggled through this time as best I could, walking on eggshells, doing my best to avoid provoking the wrath of my father. However, it was not that easy. I was very much alone in that house, like everyone else. And like the two sailors on a sinking ship, it was every man for himself. My mom noticed she could direct Warbeard's ire towards me to save her own hide. She seized on that opportunity without remorse. And when I used to feel bad for your mother, it is now gone. Wow. Fuck that. Okay. No. Again, you're doing this to a fucking child. There's something to be said about cowards. If she did something that was going to piss off Warbeard, she would come up to me, start an argument, start with the tears right before he'd get home, and then let my dad know how bad I had been, and then, well, rinse and repeat at her convenience. Fucking wow, dude. Just fucking wow. If she did that, she'd be able to deliver the news or avoid it altogether, and not even get more than a sigh from him. It got to the point that I couldn't speak to either of them. When I was 8, my babysitter, Terry, a teenage girl, had done horrible things, a word I'm not allowed to say, but it starts with M, and I think you know where this is going, several times. What a fucking monster. And when I told my parents about it, my mother yelled at me for being a liar, and my father literally growled in my face and told me that nobody's touching you, nobody would, stop lying. What the actual fuck is wrong with all of these people? Like, I'm sorry, oh my god, just... I'm getting mad, I'm saying things. I also have to remember, I'm sorry, OP, I know this is family and stuff like that, but holy fucking shit, dude. Holy fucking shit, man. There's only so much. These people are fucking horrible. I could say sorry until fucking sun up, man, but it ain't gonna be enough, and I don't even know what to... I don't even know. I was being assaulted, and years later, when I pointed it out to my folks that it really happened, they both just shrugged and said, well, now we know you weren't lying. Too late to do anything about it now, though. Fucking assholes! Oh, God, I'm sorry. That just... Now I'm trans. Growing up, I knew something was different about me. I just didn't know what it was or how to articulate it until I was 10, and then it occurred to me. I'm a girl. Just thinking about the statement filled me with such relief and understanding. It took me a few days, but I worked up the courage to tell my parents what I had discovered about myself. However, it was not to be. 20 minutes before I had worked up the courage to speak to them about my identity, I was pulled into my parents' room to be scolded. Honestly, they found one of my twin sister's shirts in my room with my dirty laundry. I thought it was cute and I wanted to try it on. I loved it. Honestly, it's what helped me make the breakthrough to understand. What I need you, dear readers, to understand is that I tried it on, admired it, and then threw it in the laundry. That was it. Warbeard had other ideas. He smacked me up, berated me, called me sick and disgusting before finally finishing with his trademark,
"Oh, you know I love you, right?"
You know, it's real fucking hard to believe, I'm gonna be honest with you. He wouldn't wait 5 minutes, 50 seconds, or even 5 seconds after being heated before letting that one out. He'd have just cooled off before asking that. If you said no, you get another round of lectures and smacking, or PT, if he was too physically tired to be up to the challenge. If you said yes, then he'd bring you in for a hug. Love bombing. Yeah, it's another fucking abusive tactic. Yeah, I know it. Fuck this guy. I'm sorry, but fuck this guy. I'm not sorry. I love you, he'd say, and if you didn't reciprocate, he'd admonish you for being too proud to understand you need teaching. It's not teaching if it's abuse, you fucking troglodyte. And I can't handle someone who's going to behave like a child. They're literal children. They are literally children. How the fuck do you expect children to act when they are actually fucking children? Are you fucking serious right now? I've been doing this for a couple years, and I don't think I've ever hated somebody this much. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. So after all that, he looks at me.
"I need you to admit that you had masturbated using your sister's shirt."
What's that? I was 10. The word wasn't something I'd be familiar with for years yet. She doesn't even know what it means. It just sounds like some weird sick shit that's in his head, I'll be honest with you.
"You touch yourself. I know it feels good, but you can't be doing that with your sister's stuff."
I don't do that. That sounds weird.
"I need you to admit. You've been doing it. Don't lie, just say it."
But after a few rounds of letting him push me around verbally, I lied and admitted what he wanted me to admit. Because when you're in a situation like that, and the abuser decides that this is what you have to do, they have decided already what the answer is, and they're going to continue to abuse and push and prod and force you until you say what they want you to say. Yep. Yeah, I recognize this fucking behavior, alright. Says a lot about him, I'll tell you that. He went so far as to ask me if I'm attracted to either my sister or my mother. When I said no, he looked at me like he didn't believe it. Eventually he dropped it and smiled at me.
"You told your mom you wanted to talk to me about something. What's up?"
After being smacked and berated, accused of being attracted to my mother and sister, and told how disgusting I was, I felt nothing but fear of people finding out. I lied and said I forgot and went on with my day. I'm happy I didn't for quite a while. Warbeard would go on and on about shows with, quote, the gays, and, quote, he-she's. Those he pointed out a lot as having, quote, lost their way, and basically, quote,
"They're out of the world and have forgotten God doesn't make mistakes."
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna fucking say it. I'm gonna fucking say it. I'm not gonna go on an LGBT rant. I'm just gonna fucking say it. They're out of the world and have forgotten God doesn't make mistakes. Then what's your excuse? I'm sorry. I just really had to let that out. Last part of this humongous post is 2 facts. 1, when I was 9, we're driving somewhere. We're on the highway. He pulled over, got out, started walking away. He claimed he was, quote,
"sick of this poor excuse for a family,"
and how, quote,
"not gonna stay where people don't love him."
He was mad at the fact that we didn't back up a statement that he'd made that made him sound like an asshole, as if that helped his image. And 2, when I was 12, I was getting seriously bullied at school. No one was helping, and my dad one day picked me up from school after I'd suffered a panic attack, a thing Warbeard swears doesn't actually exist. Of course he thinks that. He railed into me about being a, quote, lazy coward. Fucking douchebag. I asked him to stop, and he pulled the car over and demanded I get out of the car. I'd opened the door, and he shoved me out, shut the door, and peeled off. I have no idea where I was or how to get home from where I was, so I sat down on the curb and just didn't move. My mother came for me a little after midnight, irate at me for not having already come home. After I got home, everyone else had been having a good time, but as soon as I entered, Warbeard scooped up the game pieces and told my siblings to go to bed. He went off to bed himself and left me alone. I just want to repeat a part of this from the very beginning of this part 2 here. When I was 12, fucking 12, you just straight up abandoned your kid. You abandoned a child in a place that they didn't know where they were and left them to fend for themselves until after fucking midnight. You fucking bastard. I'm trying. I'm really trying. He spent his days targeting me. If I don't sound like I had sympathy for my mother, it's because I don't. Though a victim herself, she chose to victimize me to minimize her own pain. My brother was my father's golden child, and it shows. My sister fell between the cracks, unloved by either parent, but not hated by them either, just there. Those years growing up were tough, and I do carry it with me. These days, I fly my life like a flag with a middle finger to anyone who's like the bitch that would call himself my father. I have zero contact with both of them for over a year now. It took me until I was 31 to finally cut ties with them for good, but I have. Both of the people who call themselves my parents will one day die, and I will not attend their funerals. I have a dog. He's wonderful and fun. I got married on the 28th of last month to a wonderful woman who loves everything about me, for reasons I will never truly understand, but that's okay. I am slowly learning to live happily. My brother even cut contact with me because he's, quote, disappointed I'd behave like a spoiled child. Oh, shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. I only talk to my sister these days, and that's alright. She's grown into a loving mother of 3 beautiful children. Aside from an LGBT or trans flag that I like to fly, I also have a personal flag that's a torn fedora and a middle finger rising out of it. I don't have it made yet, but someday I'll have the energy to draw it, and when I do, I'll get it on a flag. Remember, sometimes it pays to be that person who can make someone finally feel like they're worth it. And honestly, the validation you guys have given me has given me the strength to actually come out with it. I promise the next post won't be like this. It'll be back to being cringy and funny. Until then, stay strong, everybody. It took everything in me, as you heard about this whole story, to hold myself together. I loathe these two. They call themselves parents, but they're not. That's not what parents do. That's not what family is. That is abuse, that is neglect, that is horror. And fuck both of them. Yeah, I realize she went through some shit too. But to take it out on a child, a fucking child, you coward. You're both fucking sick. Disgust me. Fucking hate people like that. And I have absolutely, much like our wonderful OP here, no sympathy. Fuck them. I felt bad for the mom at first. I did, because I know people who've been through abusive situations like that, and it is fucked up. But when you start pushing it onto an actual child, you're fucked. Alright? I get it. It's fucked up. It's horrible. It's painful. Maybe you're scared to leave. Maybe you're scared to get out of that situation. But it's not an excuse for you to let that kind of shit happen to a child, let alone your child. It's fucking disgusting, man. It's fucking disgusting. And then Warbeard himself, the fucking asshole, the fucking weak-willed, shitty little fucking coward. Oh, I'm a big man. I was in the army. No, fuck you. You're nothing. You're not even good enough to be fucking cannon fodder. You ain't even fucking Hamburger, you weak-willed little shit. You fucking coward. Oh, I'm a big man because I have to teach them. Oh, you learn. They're children, you fucking weak little shit. They're children, you fucking coward. Go play your fucking board games. That's the only soldiers you're ever gonna see. They wouldn't take you seriously in the military. That's why you got discharged like a bitch. I'm sorry, I just had to let that out. Now, part 2 of this. I know that, you've listened to this, OP. I know that you've listened to the first part, and I'm sure you're listening to this now. And I know it's hard, you know, hearing somebody be this angry. Even if they are really shitty, you know, it's still a part of your past. But I want you to know, after all the shit you went through, for you to come out of it as awesome as you are, I don't think I've ever been prouder of somebody, man. You are fucking fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. No one can ever fucking take that away from you. No matter how much those little shits fucking try, they're nothing. You are 1,000 times the person both of them could ever be, put together tenfold even. They're nothing. You are fucking incredible. You went through all that shit and came out on top as a better person. 10 times better person. And I am so sorry you went through this. But personally, I feel fucking honored that you would tell us this story. That you would send this to me. I got your email. I'm sorry it took me this long to get to it, but that you would send this to me and trust me to tell this story. Every now and then, I get a story from some of you guys that are just amazing. You know, you go through such horrible shit and then come out being the amazing people that you are. And I'm not just proud, I'm fucking honored, you know? You didn't have to share that with me. Anybody. You could have told me to take it down. You could have told me to shut up. But the fact that you feel safe enough to have that expressed, it means a lot. Because you are amazing. You're fucking incredible, man. And as for your designs, as for your flag that you want to make, when you do make it, when you do get that design done, tell me about it. I want one of those patches for my jacket. I'll gladly fly that flag in your honor. I wish I could do more. I wish I could do more to be more supportive, to be there, because holy shit, dude, you went through so much, and you deserve all the support and love and positivity that you get. And I don't usually do, like, a lot of times when I do call outs for stuff with the videos and shit, it's a joke, but like right now, if you are listening to this, I don't care if you've never commented before at all. I don't care if you think I'm fucking stupid and you don't like my narration or whatever, but if you support OP, if you're there for this wonderful, wonderful person, say so. This isn't about me, man. This is about them. And they deserve all the love and support that they could ever possibly get. Stories like this make me worry about you guys. I know there's nothing I could have done about this. I mean, this is years after. And hell, we're practically the same age. But man, I just worry about some of y'all. If you are in a situation that's this horrible, or even remotely horrible, in a place where you feel like this, please do find some way to get out, get some help, do something, man. You do not need to be treated like that. No one fucking does. And no one can take you away from you. You're all fucking incredible, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I am very, I'm very happy that you cut contact from them. I'm fucking ecstatic that you're married. And congratulations on that. I didn't know. But congratulations, if it means anything. From, my goofy ass, but still. You guys are amazing. This was a difficult story, but, it was one that needed to be told. So that anybody out there who's ever gone through something similar knows that they're not alone. And that you are wonderful. I don't know, man. Please be careful. Please take care of each other. And know that you are loved and cherished no matter what. something, whatever YouTube outro. Just be careful, okay? I love you guys very much. From the bottom of my heart. I'll see you in the next one, alright? Goodbye, everybody.